a majestic German shepherd, her fur dusted with snow, sat huddled outside the front door of a remote cabin, shielding her two tiny puppies from the relentless wind and snowfall. Her golden eyes were filled with desperation, her body trembling from the cold. She had been through hell, and now, with her pups barely clinging to life, she had found her way to this doorstep. What happened next will make you feel sorry for the poor pups. But before we continue, hit the like button, subscribe, and share this story to help us spread awareness about animals in need. Together, we can make a difference. Now let's dive into the story. The wind howled like a wounded beast, tearing through the dense pines of the remote Alaskan wilderness. Snowflakes the size of quarters swirled in the air, reducing visibility to mere feet. Inside his isolated log cabin, retired firefighter Marcus Reed sat by the crackling fire, a steaming mug of coffee in his hands. The storm had been raging for 3 days, cutting him off from the outside world. The silence was deafening, broken only by the occasional snap of burning wood. Then it came, a sound that made Marcus's blood run cold. A desperate guttural whine pierced the storm's roar. It wasn't the wind, it wasn't his imagination. Something or someone was out there. Marcus froze, his mug halfway to his lips. The sound came again, closer this time, accompanied by a frantic scratching at his front door. His heart pounded as he set the mug down and grabbed his flashlight. The scratching grew louder, more insistent, and then a whimper. A weak, pitiful whimper that sent a shiver down his spine. He approached the door cautiously, his boots crunching against the wooden floor. Peering through the frosted glass, he saw a shadowy figure hunched against the storm. His breath caught in his throat. It was a German shepherd. But not just any dog. This one was regal, her black and tan fur matted with ice and snow. Her golden eyes locked onto Marcus's, filled with a mixture of fear and desperation. And pressed tightly against her side were two tiny puppies, their fur dusted white, barely visible beneath the storm's fury. Marcus's hand hovered over the doorknob. He knew the risks. Stray dogs could be unpredictable, especially in such dire conditions. But as the German shepherd's gaze met his, something deep within him stirred. This wasn't just a dog, it was a mother, fighting to protect her young. The decision he made next would change their lives forever. Marcus swung the door open, and the icy wind surged inside, carrying with it the bitter chill of the storm. The German shepherd didn't move at first, her body trembling violently, her paws buried in the snow. Her golden eyes never left Marcus's, as if she were weighing whether to trust him. "Come on, girl," Marcus said softly, crouching to make himself less threatening. "You're not going to make it out there." The dog hesitated, her breath coming in ragged puffs. Then, with a soft whine, she nudged one of the pups forward. The tiny creature stumbled, its legs barely strong enough to carry it. Without hesitation, the mother dog gently picked it up by the scruff and carried it inside, the second pup following close behind. Marcus shut the door, blocking out the storm's relentless fury. The sudden warmth of the cabin seemed to overwhelm the dog. She collapsed near the fire, her body shaking as she curled protectively around her pups. Marcus grabbed an old blanket and draped it over her, his mind racing. The pups were tiny, their eyes barely open, and their fur was crusted with ice. The mother dog was in worse shape, her ribs protruded through her matted fur, and her breathing was shallow. Marcus knelt beside her, his hand hovering over her head. "You've been through hell, haven't you?" he murmured. The dog flinched but didn't growl. Her eyes, though weary, held a glimmer of gratitude. Over the next few days, Marcus worked tirelessly to nurse the dogs back to health. He named the mother dog Bella, after the way her golden eyes seemed to glow with resilience. The pups, a boy and a girl, he called Max and Daisy. Bella remained wary of Marcus at first, her instincts telling her to protect her young. But as the days passed, she began to relax. She allowed Marcus to sit closer, her growls softening into low whines. Max and Daisy, on the other hand, were bundles of energy, tumbling over each other and exploring every corner of the cabin. Marcus couldn't help but smile as he watched them. For years he had lived alone in the wilderness, content with his solitude. But Bella and her pups had brought a new kind of life into his home. A life filled with warmth, laughter, and purpose. Still, questions lingered in his mind. Where had Bella come from? How had she ended up in the middle of a blizzard with two newborns? Her condition suggested she had been on her own for a while, but the scars on her body told a darker story. One evening, as Marcus sat by the fire, Bella approached him, her movements slow and deliberate. She nuzzled his hand, her golden eyes meeting his. For the first time, Marcus saw something in her gaze that he hadn't noticed before. Trust. "You're safe now," he said softly, scratching behind her ears. "No one's ever going to hurt you again." The storm eventually passed, leaving behind a pristine blanket of snow. Marcus decided to take Bella and the pups outside, letting them stretch their legs and explore the wilderness. Bella stepped cautiously onto the porch, her ears perked and her nose twitching as she sniffed the air. Max and Daisy bounded after her, their tiny paws sinking into the snow. Marcus watched them with a sense of contentment he hadn't felt in years. But as they ventured farther from the cabin, Bella suddenly froze. Her ears shot up, her body tensing as she stared into the trees. Marcus followed her gaze, his heart skipping a beat. A shadow moved among the pines, a tall, cloaked figure watching them from a distance. "Bella, inside, now," Marcus said firmly, his voice low. The dog didn't need to be told twice. She herded the pups back toward the cabin, her body rigid with tension. Marcus followed, his mind racing. Who was out there? And why were they watching? That night, Marcus sat by the window, his rifle resting against the wall. Bella lay at his feet, her ears twitching at every sound. Max and Daisy slept soundly by the fire, oblivious to the danger lurking just beyond the trees. The figure returned, standing at the edge of the woods. Marcus's grip tightened on his rifle as he stepped onto the porch, the cold biting at his skin. "Who's out there?" he called, his voice steady. The figure stepped forward, revealing a man in his 40s, his face shadowed by a hood. In his hand was a rope, and his eyes were cold and calculating. "That's my dog," the man said, his voice dripping with menace. "I've been looking for her." Marcus's blood boiled. "Your dog? She was half dead when she found me. If she's yours, why the hell did she look like that?" The man smirked. "She got out, happens sometimes, but I'm here to take her back." Marcus raised his rifle, the barrel pointed squarely at the man's chest. "You're not taking her anywhere. She's not yours anymore." The man's smirk faltered and he took a step back. "You don't know what you're dealing with, old man. That dog's trouble. She's better off with me." At that moment, Bella appeared at Marcus's side, her teeth bared and a low growl rumbling from her chest. The man's eyes widened and he took another step back. "You've made a mistake," he said, his voice shaking. "You don't know what that dog's capable of." Marcus stepped forward, his rifle still raised. "The only mistake was you thinking you could come back here and take her. She's not going anywhere, and neither are her pups. Now get off my land before I make you regret it." The man hesitated, his eyes flicking between Marcus and Bella, before finally turning and disappearing into the woods. The man never returned, and life in the cabin settled into a peaceful rhythm. Bella's strength returned, her coat gleaming in the sunlight. Max and Daisy grew into playful, curious dogs, their bond with Marcus unbreakable. One evening, as the fire crackled in the hearth, Marcus sat with Bella by his side. She rested her head on his lap, her golden eyes filled with trust and gratitude. "You're home now," Marcus said softly, stroking her fur. "And I'm never letting anything happen to you or those pups." Bella let out a soft sigh, her body completely at ease. For the first time in years, Marcus felt truly alive. Together, they had faced the darkness, and together, they had found a new beginning. Bella's journey from the frozen wilderness to a warm home is a testament to the resilience of animals and the power of compassion. If this story touched your heart, let it inspire you to take action. Consider adopting, supporting a local shelter, or simply sharing this story to spread awareness. Like, subscribe, and share to help us spread awareness for animals in need. Together, we can make a difference, one rescue at a time. Thank you for being part of this journey.